Welcome back. Today I'm having another for sale video. What I'm offering today is a really cool watch. I would call it the second generation of the GMT watches from Seiko. The earliest ones, of course, are the world times associated with the Olympics, and this was a next generation, different movement, but a similar style of watch to those. So they have a lot of the hallmarks that were associated with the Olympic watches that were a 6217, and this is a 6117. But it's an early one. This is from 1969. It's from July of 69. It's a proof back 6117 6010. This watch is what is known in the Seiko collecting community as an error bezel. It is the year that they decided to align London, Paris, and Rome, and GMT is off to the side. And so it's a different designation of where GMT would be. That was a standard change that happened with the those who keep track of of things like the time zones. So in the designation here, it's called an error bezel because GMT is not aligned with London. At the time, it was not an error. I have fully restored this watch and fully serviced it, and to me that implies two new arbor port jewels, one in the upper and one in the lower, that have been designed and are custom for us. I have rebuilt the case, rebuilt the crown. So this has a inside gasket crown, much like the Seiko divers do, where you have to disassemble the components, put the new gasket in, and then reassemble. So that's been done. Everything functions exactly as it should. You've got an inner turning bezel. It's operated by a gear that's attached to the crown and stem. This is a 6117A movement because of the early designation. It's the early non-hacking version, which is actually almost the identical movement as in the 6105s from the 8000 series. So it's a very cool designation. It is a date only, so no day. It's a very clean dial. It has that really nice crisscross linen pattern. All the lume is original to the watch. The date, the dial and the case back match on their dates. This is I would say, a sort of transition piece between the world times that were associated with the Olympic Games and the later 6117s that have more of a cushion case. This one has real distinct lugs that really look very good. It has also this interesting outer bezel that sort of extends over the side of the watch, so it gives a somewhat larger appearance. So that makes it look a lot bigger in the wearing. It's a 38 millimeter wide bezel and roughly a 44 millimeter across the lugs with a 19 millimeter lug spacing. I have it on a vintage new old stock calf strap, which really looks quite good. You can actually get away with a 20 millimeter strap if you want to on these. They do fit. It is 19 millimeters, but a soft 20 millimeter will work. That's what this is. So blister back case, error bezel, 6117 world time. Really a beautiful watch. The only thing I would notice and point out to be sure that you see is there's a little loss of red here on the GMT hand, but otherwise it's absolutely perfect. Everything functions exactly as it should. Hand alignment, which is challenging on these. There's so many, there's an extra hand you got to think about, but it's perfect. It really aligns quite nicely. So there we go. We'll click over and we can run the quick date as soon as we get a little further away from midnight. So that just works as it should. So if you're looking for a really classic watch with really interesting history in terms of the way the designations of the cities were aligned on the bezel. This is a unique one. It's a fun watch. Well, thank you for watching, and if you're interested, please follow the link in the description below.